Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Doing something a little bit different today. Just wanted to talk to you about some games that have surprised me over the last couple of months. Hey folks, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me by now, and you should, my name is Matt, and I am here today to have a bit of a discussion about some games that have surprised me. Now, that's both in good and bad ways, I will preface that. But of late, I've been playing some games, some new games that have come across my desk, and, the table, I should say. And they've really surprised me in either how good they are and in a couple of cases how bad they actually are. So I thought rather than just do an unboxing or a review as such, I just want to talk about some games that really surprised me in those different ways. And there's 5 games that I've got for you here today, and by all means I'd love to hear your thoughts as well once we're through. So let's have a look at the first one. Alright, so the first one that I have that surprised the absolute bejeebers out of me was a Kickstarter that I backed. It was an existing game, but this is a reprint, new editions of the game. And instead of coming in just one flavour, it came in 3 flavours. I'm talking about Scott Arms' Boomerang. That's this little fella right here. Now, Boomerang is effectively a pick and pass drafting game. And then you've got to fill in a scorecard as to the places you visit, the sets you collect, and all sorts of other things as well. And there's 4 different scoring methods. If you know Boomerang, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't know Boomerang. I backed this because Grail Games representatives of Matagot here in Australia were producing the game. So I thought, oh, look, I'll get on board. And seeing Scott's name, always a big tick. This game surprised me because it sat on a shelf, unboxed and unplayed, just waiting for me to get to it with videos. And if you're a Patreon, you would have watched our backlog video that we did. It was just taking forever to get through a backlog of stuff that we needed to shoot. So I just thought, let's just open her up and see what this is about. The first time we played this was myself, Charlotte, and my wife, Catherine. And we must have played it once we got the hang of it. I think we played it 3 times, 4 times in succession. And it's a game that is a staple when we play or we're teaching people new games or trying to bring them into the fold, into the hobby. It is unassuming. It is very simple. It's literally a 28 card deck and a score pad and some pencils. That's all that's in the box. But the strategy of drafting your cards and knowing which cards to choose, do you go for the animals? Do you go for your collections? Do you go for your pick and throw and catch card? The agony of choosing which card to draft when the cards come around the table, and the difference, different strategies to take on at different player counts if it's just 2 players. How does that work with just 2 players when you're missing half the deck that's in the draw pile and won't be accessible that round? Are you going to get those cards and the next round you shuffle up? You just don't know which cards are missing. But then when you're playing a game with 4 players, every single card is in use. So you know that someone has got that card, that elusive card you're searching for. Unassuming, unapologetic, brutal in its strategy, but also so easy to pick up and play. This is one that really surprised me, and that's why it's on this list. We've loved Boomerang. I regret not backing the Europe and the USA expansions. We did get the mini expansion, which allows for a solo mode, which is fantastic as well, by the way. Really good solitaire play. But as a result of this, we ended up backing Walk in the Gardens, that sort of stuff, the new Kickstarters by Matagot and Grail Games. So Boomerang, if you've not played it, if you've not played this new edition, please check it out. It's fantastic, definitely worth a look, and it may just surprise you. Alright, the next one I want to talk about now is one that I have planned a playthrough and a review for, but I just haven't got to it. It's been crazy. It's been school holidays. School is back today, so that's exciting. This one is one that I was really keen on, and as soon as I saw it announced on Kickstarter, we backed that straight away. We actually had our unboxing featured by the game's creators in the Kickstarter updates, which is fantastic. But I just think there's something about this game that will appeal to everybody. Any serious gamer will love this, I think, in my opinion. What surprised me about it was that it is a lot deeper than it first appears. Appearances can be deceiving. A small box, big strategy, great, amazing gameplay. I am talking about Mantis Falls. Now, this is a game that is a social deduction game at its core, but it's a social deduction game for 2 players. That is it. There is a 3-player module in the box, but this game shines in the full circle expansion, all the cards, 2 players going head to head, or not, because it could be cooperative, you just don't know. The beauty of this game is that my wife and I do get very competitive and we do want to win. So we sometimes struggle to disassociate the fact that we may actually be working together and do damage to each other, thinking each other is the assassin, when unfortunately we should just be helping each other get to the end and survive the night. Again, this is a game that looks deceptively simple. All you have to do is get your mover from one end of the road to the other and make sure you don't die, while making sure that the other player is a witness or an assassin, deducing whether or not they're with you or against you. That in itself is amazing. It's an amazing concept, but the fact that you can add in the extra expansions, the extra modules that are in this box, and I don't know if they're going to be in the retail edition of the game. This is a Kickstarter version. This game surprised me. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. If you haven't checked out Mantis Falls, you really should. It's a game like where you get all the fun of Secret Hitler and all the accusatory ramblings and everything else, but with a much darker mobster tone, and it is just brilliant. The comic book that's inside here as well it sort of prefaces the events to come in the game, and it's absolutely fantastic. Mantis Falls, another one that may just surprise you. Okay, it would be remiss of me to do a list of games that surprised me. Yes, it's always great to have some nice surprises, but it's always that much more bittersweet when you get something that's not such a nice surprise. Here's a game that I backed purely because I'd gone in some other Kickstarters with this company, and to their credit, the artwork is fantastic, and this game is no exception. But the gameplay, the lack of proofreading, the lack of explanation, the lack of care that was taken in terms of playtesting this, I guess, has led me to put this as a bad, nasty aftertaste surprise on my list. I'm talking about a game called Silverwood Grove. Now, this is the collector's edition with Kickstarters and all the rest of it as well. We have played this 3 times. That is it. We unboxed it on the channel. You can see the unboxing video on the channel. It looks gorgeous. The artwork is fantastic. The movement dial to rotate is something a bit different, which is okay. The nasty surprise in this one is the rule book, or the lack of. It is a leaflet, which is not dissimilar to other games that these guys have created, and it's nothing against the creator. I think they just rushed this a little bit. I think if they develop, there is a basis of a decent game here, but it's just been rushed, in my opinion. The rulebook itself is it's a disaster. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's a disaster. There is things missing, explanations for the research fields don't have an explanation about how to tally up points. There's no point values given to them. Suffice to say that the game's author has put up an FAQ and some errata on the website for this one, so you can actually download that and complete what's missing in the rulebook. Although, to be perfectly frank, if they quickly slapdash together an updated rules booklet, even just a couple of A4 sheets, and shipped them out folded in an envelope, that would probably be more appreciated than just putting something up online. As I said, the artwork is great. The idea is great, but the execution is just, unfortunately, just misses the mark. And for a game that, was 65, I think, for the collectors, 75, you do expect a little bit more polish. And again, Charlotte she likes looking at the cards. She doesn't understand the core gameplay, because I don't understand the core gameplay. I've looked up the FAQ and I just think it's still, it does cover things that are missing, but it's just opening up the box and being able to play the game. You want to just play the game. You don't want to have to get online and get clarifications and go on Board Game Geek and all that stuff. So this, unfortunately, was a nasty surprise. If you've had a better experience with Silverwood Grove, I would love to hear about it. So please pop it in the comments below. But otherwise, if you are one of the unfortunate folk who have backed this and have had similar experiences, commiserations. If you were thinking about acquiring a copy of this, think twice. All right, we're getting into some more bigger box games now, and there are quite a few games. Our distributor is amazing. Our account manager with the distribution company is fantastic. We actually said we were looking to do YouTube content. We were looking to do some demo game nights where we'd have people around and demo things, do showcases, things like that. And they decided they were going to send us out 5 or 6 games, demo copies, no charge, as ways to sort of have something to play in store, demo nights, that sort of stuff. Because of the backlog and because of Kickstarters and because of lockdowns and everything else as well, some of them have been sitting in shrink, just waiting to be used. And again, like with Boomerang that you heard earlier, I just ripped into one because I went, you know what? It's been sitting there for a while. It's from one of our favorite publishers in this household. Let's give it a crack. I'm talking about a game called Karuba. Now, this has been out since 2015. It's been around for a while. I am very, very upset with myself that I didn't open this sooner. I should have known better because it has this on it. It's manufactured by Harbour, and Harbour put out some great stuff, not just for junior kiddie gamers, but also for the deep strategists like myself and my wife. This game is no exception. If you're not familiar with Karuba, effectively you rock up on an island with your 4 adventurers, and you've got to get your adventurers to the temple by placing tiles and moving them along those tiles, collecting gold and crystals along the way. It sounds like it's a simple game of solitaire, except that you are in a race against time against the other players that are setting up their own islands. And while you all operate your own island individually, the first person to get to each treasure gets the most points, and then so on and so forth. So there is quite a bit of strategy. We found that if you race for the temples, you don't necessarily win, because if you stop to smell the roses, so to speak, and pick up crystals and gold along the way, those 2 or 3 points might be all the difference. In fact, most of the games we've played with this have been 1 or 2 points in it, and you never know exactly how close it is until you do that final count up at the end of the game. Why this surprised me? It looked like a very simple strategic sort of game. I thought maybe Charlotte would enjoy it. I did not expect there to be so much strategy involved. The tile placement, again, agonizing about whether you spend the tile for movement points or whether you place the tile on your grid to try and make it work so you can get your adventure to the end. Karuba has been, since we've opened it, our most played game. We have played this at least 3 times a week since we opened it just after the new year. So it's only recently been discovered by the family, but I can tell you right now, this is something we've played with people who have come over to the house now that we're able to do that again. And it'll be something that I know that our serious gamer friends will actually really get a kick out of as well. Simple to set up, simple to understand, incredibly difficult to master. This game pretty much has it all, which is another reason why it has this little nomination for the Spielshaharas as well. This nomination as Best in Show, or one of the best games of 2016, means this game's got the goods. There is a card game version, there is a junior version, which we've just skipped because Charlotte is on point. She wins a lot of the games as well. We're going to have to start cheating if Catherine and I hope to keep winning. But Karuba is a game that surprised me because I did not expect the quality of game in this box, and I should have known better because it is a Harbour product. This is a game that has unassuming, cartoony aesthetics, but some deep strategy and some deep competition as you race to get to the treasures first. That's Karuba. Do yourself a favor, definitely check it out. And now we get to the biggest of the big box games. This one is one we've unboxed on the channel. We've got the expansion. It is one that we use quite a lot when we do our showcases, and every time I take it to a showcase, someone says, hey, can I get a copy off you? Unfortunately, it is not available at retail here in Australia yet. I have been talking to our distribution partners to see if they can acquire it because it will sell like crazy. The Kickstarter Deluxe version we have here just adds so much more to the game. And as I said, every time we've played it, it's been absolutely fantastic and a crazy, riotous time. The table is usually a mess by the time we're through. And it's a game that plays for 2 to 8 players. So there's a huge difference in player count. Does it change the game? Not at all. The chaos is real. I am talking about the Kickstarter edition we have of Rival Restaurants by Gap Closer Games. This game looks like it's a bit crazy. It's literally kitchens fighting kitchens, restaurants fighting restaurants, and it sounds really a bit kitsch, a bit, you know, it's a gimmick. But no, the fighting is real. In each phase of the game, or each round of the game, there are 3 phases. There's, the first one is money and move. You get your money from the bank or your salary, and then you decide where you're going to go around the board, which market you're going to go to. The second step of the round is buy and barter, and that's where the game is actually played. The third phase is cook and counter, which is resetting and refreshing for the next round. Buy and barter, though, is where you can use your money to buy as much as you can from the market you're at. But if you try to get the same ingredient as someone else, you've got to have an auction. You've got to do it all in 60 seconds, and you can trade with other players. You can trade ingredients, buy things off other players. You can play action cards against them to steal half their money. Armed robbery attempts to steal half their gold and chuck it back in the bank. You can get rid of trash. That 60 seconds per round is absolute chaos. There is hands flying everywhere as people try and grab things off the shelves as quick as they possibly can. It is absolute chaos, and it is a heck of a good time. If you've not had the pleasure of playing Rival Restaurants, really should check it out. It's absolutely agonizingly amazing trying to find those ingredients for those cards. The 3D representation of the market, all the bits, the bins, so to speak, the bins for the trash bags, and then the discard pile for the island in the middle of the board. It just is absolutely spectacular fun, absolutely crazy, and definitely worth a look. This is one of those big games that surprised us last year, and we look forward to getting it to the table again very soon, hopefully for a playthrough. We'll see how we go. But Rival Restaurants, definitely check it out. And that's 5 games that surprised us, both good and bad. Any current games that you've played where you've gone, yeah, not really like that, got a bad surprise, got a nasty surprise? Any games that came out of the woodwork and really blew your mind? I'd love to know about it. Pop them in the comments below. As always, folks, massive thank you to our Patreon supporters for allowing us to do all the fun stuff we get to do on the channel. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support. Hope you're enjoying your game crates that you're getting on a monthly basis. And for those of you who are just joining the channel and haven't really gone to the guts of it, there's plenty of content, so please check it out. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you back at the table very soon. Until then, it is bye for now.